What is up, bros? Me, Josh. In today's video, we're going over this gem of a Tier 4 DD in the Pan-Asian Destroyer line, one that is currently work in progress, so just keep in mind, these things could be subject to change, and these stats could not be final, and this could be a completely different ship when it's fully released. But for right now, the Shenyang, the Tier 4 Pan-Asian DD, is a freaking monster of a ship at Tier 4, and one of kind of the highlights of this line. I mean, I think the whole line is pretty good, especially if you like the USN DD line. Very, very similar to the play, but the low tiers are extremely strong, even though they only have the Deepwater Torps. But all in all, this thing is a gem. Definitely one that's going to be a keeper in the long run. One I definitely hold on to. And Tier 4 has been a pretty competitive tier for these destroyers. There's a lot of really good ones. Izukazi, of course, is the torpedo ship of low tiers. Clemson being that low tier gunboat, absolutely kind of like this really good seal clubber. The Izzy for me is my favorite. Amazing. Used to be able to stealth fire, now it can't, but it's still incredibly good. The V170, the German destroyer, is also extremely good. But man, the Shenyang is kind of this perfect little mix between, I guess, maybe like an Izzy and a Clemson. It's a little, it's just kind of the best of both worlds on top of having longer torpedoes. So this thing is just an absolute beast and just a blast to play. Now, the only downside about this thing is it only has Deepwater Torps, so as you play against these guys, it's going to be guns only, but the guns on this ship are just absolutely nasty. So, hit points 12,000, so it's pretty basic for a tier 4. We're just going to compare it to, let's say, the Izzy. So you're going to have a little bit more life than that. 2,000 more, and of course I am running a superintendent captain, and of course the Clemson, you're going to have more than that. So your health pool is good. You are basically the competitive size of kind of all of these ships. They're all very similar in size. Main battery 4 times 1, 4 shells going out every 6.5 seconds. So that's going to put you right there. Well, the Clemson's going to have the doubles, but it's going to put you right there with the amount of turrets, and then you're just down by 1 on the Izzy. So, and the Izzy's just the only one that can shoot a little bit faster. So 4 turrets going out 6.5 seconds, and man, do these things hit hard. I just realized when I was playing the ship, the alpha damage was absolutely insane. And I'm running an AFT captain. This is my Anshan captain. So the AFT is pumping out to 11.6 kilometers, which is actually extremely strong when it comes to this. All of the trajectory isn't, super low. Let's compare it to just the Izzy at that range. The Izzy's going to have better. Of course, the Clemson is going to have better at that tier. There is a bit of an arc to the shells that you will have to kind of get used to, but all in all, it is extremely good, and you will do a ton of alpha damage against other destroyers and be able to just kind of wreck them. Torpedoes. Now, these are the Deepwater Torps, the signature of the Pan-Asian DD lines. 2 sets of 3, 66 seconds on the reload time, so pretty good at this tier. 6.4 kilometers, which is actually really, really good. You outrange both the Izzy and the Clemson. The V170 and the Izukazi are the only ones that have longer range than yours. But, of course, the only ships you can strike is a CV, battleship, and cruiser. Luckily, there is a bunch of them, and then if you do run into a destroyer, you do have the guns to kind of keep you competitive, which you are. Very, very fast ship. I believe it's one of the faster destroyers at this tier, if not the fastest. Should double check really fast. So 39 knots. Yeah, to my knowledge, you are the fastest destroyer by a long shot. So if you do have to disengage, you have that speed and maneuverability. And the detection is 5.7. So you actually basically out-detect everything but the V170 and the Izukazi. Izukazi, of course, you're going to absolutely destroy in a gun battle. The V170 will put up a little bit more of a fight, but I think your alpha damage and everything else will just be able to win it. So this thing is an absolute beast. It basically can take out any destroyer without much challenge. Just your downside is you can't torp into smokes, which I did get a little irritated once in a while, but I have on kind of the entire line. And but really, you're gonna do fine. One of the upsides about this ship is, of course, the smokes on it. So this is without the premium, so you're actually gonna 6 stack if you do run it. 6 stacks of low tier smoke because of how the smoke works and how kind of high and close the high detectability, I guess, for how small the maps are. You're gonna be able to use this smoke extremely well, and using that Pan Asian, the quick reload time, shorter smoke, you can absolutely just punish other cruisers, take out other battleships, especially if you do get a flood on them with your torpedoes, finish them off, get the fire on them, and has the potential of just doing a ton of damage. Now I'm not using I didn't have it enabled for the reload, but still 5 with just superintendent, 6 with the premium. Definitely want to grab the damage control and the extra smoke generator. Get that extra stack. They definitely will help. And since it's tier 4, there's only a couple modules that I'm running. So prop mod 1 and main armament mod 1 as well. This is my captain. Like I said, this is my Anshan captain, so it just basically has kind of a normal build, but just AFT. One thing I would like to do, which I run on my other captain for the Pan Asian DD line for the Lo Yang, is I run torpedo armament. So that might be kind of interesting as you go more and more into the ship, but I think AFT is just worth it, especially at this tier. It's pretty basic. Priority target, last stand, grabbing the extra health with survivability expert, even though it is only tier 4. It does help. That can be another salvo or 2 from these destroyers, which can make or break an entire game. Picking up concealment expert, going back and picking up AFT, and then since you do have so many smokestacks with the premium, grabbing this later, then I'd probably grab adrenaline rush right here for the final 2 points once I get to 19. So let's kind of dive into some gameplay and kind of show you guys how you play this. It's going to look very similar to some destroyers, but just a little bit different with how you have to use the torpedoes. So here we are in game with the Shenyang, and we are on Big Race. This still to the day is my favorite map in all of World of Warships, and the reason why I love this map is because of how small and close quarter and instant combat. Give it a couple minutes and your whole team is basically into the fight and really just kind of rocket turn. So I love this. And of course, since we are the damage dealing DD, we are going to go into Torpedo Alley and have some fun with the enemy destroyers. My division for this game was a Nikolai and a V-170. So we had a pretty decent backup from the battleship and 2 gunboat DDs. So we can definitely contend this. The only downside is I could take a torp and not be able to deal one back. So that was kind of the downside of going into here with this. But since we have our guns that can just kind of destroy destroyers as the game kind of goes, if you play it right, you can be pretty careful and really do a lot of damage. But not being able to do damage with torpedoes to 5 of the 12 ships is one of the downsides of this line. But the torpedoes also are very, very, and of course we're only going to be a little ways away from these guys if we do kill these destroyers, and of course being able to potentially get the CV as well. They're very, very effective against, of course, the cruisers and the battleships. So we're going to be pretty aggressive on this since we did have the CV. The CV kind of let us out to dry a little bit. Because he was doing such a good job. So that's why I pushed this corner right here, because he was spotting. So I was like, okay, we're gonna get these guys. I'm gonna be able to smoke up, and it won't be that big of a deal. But as soon as I smoke up, of course, he takes his planes away from the destroyers and doesn't spot them. So the smoke was wasted a little bit from the start, but then he realizes what he was doing and then gets him going again. So we're able to start pumping out some damage. Now, it does take a little while, especially if you haven't really played with these ships. It does take a while to kind of get the angle down to really kind of shooting angle, because it is kind of lofty. It does have a pretty high trajectory. So you have to be a little careful with where you're kind of aiming and going for that. But it gives you the ability to then shoot over certain stuff. So we're gonna focus on this Clemson, and of course I miss. See, this is the perfect situation of I wish I had normal torpedoes. If I was in the Izzy, or if I was in something else, and of course I'm missing all these shots. I don't remember this, but hey, we're all human, right? If I had, especially stuff like this into smoke, I wish I had torps that could hit destroyers. Probably would have killed that guy. Potentially could have got a torp on something else. But instead, we have to kind of bait the torpedoes out with the smoke. Of course, I'm going to get spotted right here. And there's the torps right there. So we baited them out perfectly. And really could have been able to probably kill that destroyer, especially if I was in an Izzy or Clemson or anything that had decent range. We would have been able to put torps on that smoke since he beached. And it was probably a go right there. So, but I mean, like 1,000, 2,000 damage salvos every 6.5 seconds. I mean, 1,500 right there at that tier when he only has 9,000 life. That's a lot of damage for a destroyer to take, and as well as having a decent health pool to kind of fight it off. So, pretty good. What I'm going to do now, though, is with these guns and with the support, since we have 4 of our battleships, or 4 of our destroyers are here, is just kind of push this point. There's no reason not to. We know 2 DDs are there. This guy's pushing in. He's going to be taking some damage. Torps are in as well. So, and we know where the other DD is now since the other Torps came that way. So I'm going to push right around this point. Ain't no thing. Get maybe one more salvo on that guy and just be aggressive on this point and start pushing that Kaiser, because the sooner we get up there, the sooner we can get Torps on an actual ship that can take our Torps. So, in goes our V-170, and there we go. The Langley takes him out just for a little bit of a kill steal, but it's all right though. That's one thing that kind of comes up a lot is people get so it's kind of funny, like kill stealing. It's you stole my kill, you stole this, and I don't know if it's just maybe I don't care as much about kills as, you know, getting Krakens are cool and getting this is cool and all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna focus on just winning. The game, I don't, you know, you know, if somebody gets the kill, then that's fine as long as it gives us the advantage. I'm the kind of guy that I just want to get ships dead. If you can get the ships off the field, it's very, very important. And there's an 1800 salvo with of course I got a little unlucky here with tagged onto the destroyer still targeting, but for me, as long as the ship gets killed and we have the advantage and we can start working on stuff and other ships, that's more important than me getting an extra kill. That doesn't really mean too much to me. So, you know, some people might get mad that that guy wasted an entire drop. He basically did waste an entire drop, but to me, I didn't really care. The guy got killed and we had another chance of winning. So there is the perfect example of the Deepwater Torps. Boom, 4 hits, 4 floods, doing all kinds of damage, and there is the flooding as well. We can start working on this Kohlberg using our smoke to our advantage. As you can see, I was shooting at the Kaiser first, and what I was trying to do is get the fire on the Kaiser to maybe hopefully force his repair so he would flood out. Really smart thing to do, especially if your torpedoes are on the way. A lot of people will freak out and panic repair, you know, one fire, and then they're going to be stuck with the flood. So that's one thing to do if you are playing a Torp DD and you have smoke to then hide in, is if you force a smoke, some people will repair it, and you have the advantage. So right here is the perfect example of kind of the strengths of the Deepwater Torps is you don't have to worry about torping your own friendly DDs. If something a DD's in the way, it's no big deal. They're gonna go right under him, so you don't have to worry about that. So even though normal torpedoes would have had to wait and probably not been able to kind of go danger close on that guy, we just were able to launch him, not worry about too much. I think we get an extra couple torp hits right there. So 2 extra torp hits and a flooding on that guy. Probably would never have shot that if it was the other DD or a normal DD, quote unquote. So we were able to get snaked 2 extra torp hits on that guy just because of the ship we were in. So boom, down goes him, finishing him off. We're kind of smoke. I mean, we took out the destroyers, so it was basically kind of GG from that, especially at low tiers. Low tiers destroyers are very, very strong. But take down this extra Kohlberg as well. Now I'm just gonna push this Wyoming. There's no reason not to. And we're going to start trying to find where that gosh darn CV is, get him out of the game, and start focusing on that. So I'm going to let those guys kill that guy off to the left. I'll focus on this guy. There's the CV. And then I'll try to work on this Wyoming. So I think it'll be interesting to see how these things are when they go live, because a lot of people are, you know, it's very similar. If you guys have ever played the USN destroyers, this whole line is going to seem very similar and very. I think I've played this ship before, and this seems very familiar, and it's going to be. These are basically all USN destroyers with a little bit different, you know, stats here and there, maybe a little bit below time. But I mean, you get to the tier 8, it's a Benson. It's a Sea Hall Benson. It's basically a low Yang, but just with the Deepwater Torps. There's a nice little kill right there. You know, there is. You're gonna feel like you've played these ships, but to me that's okay because I love the USN line. It's my favorite, and of course, I'm missing. I'm playing dumb and not, of course, hitting the dunk on the Langley. So if you guys ever want to hit consistent citadels, which I will start shooting, you want to aim right here. That's where the citadel is. And as you can see right here, I will get citadels with HE on this ship because it's lightly armored, even if I end up switching to AP, I think, right at the end. But pretty consistent citadels if you just shoot in the bum end of this ship. And we're going to send that in. So that's on HE. That's 2 citadels right there. And that's how you're going to citadel to death a Langley. So there you go. There's another one. And I think this is going to finish off right here. 1 or 2 salvos. But 100k damage, 3 kills, citadel hits for days. And boom, right there, 3 citadels, almost 12,000 damage. So this ship, though, the Shenyang, is an amazing tier 4. I'm really looking forward to this line because I love playing destroyers. These ships are basically, they can be very good anti-DD destroyers as well. The only downside is you can't torp DDs, but they're very effective against a lot of the other stuff. So as right now there is a campaign and missions, it's not a campaign but missions going on where you need to get certain stuff done with destroyers. So the destroyer population is very high right now. So that's a little bit of the downside of the line. But if these things do go live like that, and it kind of balances out where the majority of the team is still battleships and cruisers, these things are going to absolutely shine. So very, very good ships. I'm really enjoying it. This thing at tier 4 is an absolute monster. Definitely one that's going to be one you want to keep, and looking forward to having this line go live and all you guys checking it out, because I'm liking a lot of the ships on this line. It's a lot of fun. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. The tier 4 Pan Asian DD, the Shenyang, work in progress, guys. The ship could change. It could be a different ship when it's finally released, but right now this is what I got. So that is it for me, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.